So here is the answer to today's quiz. So this is a 45-year-old male with multiple lesions on the trunk and mouth. So I didn't put up pictures of the mouth, but you can see here there are a number of blisters here. They look a bit superficial, but they are not. Some of them are tense. You can make out the sort of tense blister here, distributed characteristically over the seborrheic areas. Now, yeah, I guess if you're looking at the clinical picture alone without the history, you may wonder about pemphigus foliaceus. Um, However, um, in the history, I've clearly mentioned that there are lesions in the mouth as well. So you have to keep that in mind. So which of the following are present? Okay. So what we can see here is a clearly suprabasal blister. This is not this is not subcorneal. In pemphigus foliaceus, we expect to find a subcorneal blister. This is a suprabasal blister. You can see here, this is called festooning of dermal papillae, where the dermal papillae project into the blister cavity. And here you can see clearly the tombstoning pattern, wherein you find sort of intact keratinocytes stuck to the dermal papillae. So this is called tombstoning of the keratinocytes. This is called the tombstone pattern. This is typically found in pemphigus vulgaris. What you can see, these are two images amalgamated together. So you can see here the close-up, and this is the close-up here, and this is the lower power image of the same thing. These are acantholytic cells. You can see here floating around in the blister cavity, associated with a number of neutrophils. Okay, so this is a neutrophil-rich blister with acantholytic cells. This is a typical feature. You're also seeing a couple of eosinophils, but there are no histiocytes. There are probably occasional lymphocytes here and there, but they're not predominant actually. The predominant cell type here, yeah, there are a couple of lymphocytes probably here. Let us go down. Yeah, there are probably a few lymphocytes here, here and there, but predominant cell type is neutrophils, occasional eosinophils with acantholytic cells. These are all acantholytic keratinocytes. Whenever you're seeing sort of the pemphigus vulgaris type of picture, obviously you need to think about Hailey-Hailey disease and all the other acantholytic disorders. So you think about Grover's disease, okay? You think about Darius disease, but then you have to also correlate with the clinical. Grover's disease can produce a pemphigus vulgaris type of histological picture, but yeah, the history is not the clinical picture is against Grover's. It's against Darius as well. Hailey-Hailey obviously involves the flexures. Again, you can rule this out here. So you're dealing with an acantholytic disorder involving the body and mucosae. The differential is really between pemphigus vulgaris and foliaceus. You may think about paraneoplastic pemphigus, but that usually associated with a dense lichenoid infiltrate, which is not present here. The papillary dermis is relatively cell-free. So yeah, paraneoplastic pemphigus may be considered, but you need a correlating clinical history. What is interesting in pemphigus vulgaris is that the acantholytic cells do extend down to the sort of adnexia, so they go down the hair follicles, and this is usually a clue. If you're not seeing the blister here on top, say the blister roof is lost in processing, you can, if you look hard enough and find an appendix, if you find a hair follicle, if you see acantholytic cells along the infundibulum or lower down, then you can still make a diagnosis of pemphigus vulgaris. Now, foliaceus may also have an excellent involvement, but it's usually restricted to the infundibulum on top. In vulgaris, you may find the acantholytic cells extending lower down the hair follicle. Okay. So, lymphocytes are present, neutrophils are present, eosinophils are present, the tombstone pattern is present. There is no acantholytic dyskeratosis. Acantholytic dyskeratosis is usually a feature of Hailey-Hailey disease, Darius disease. Most of Darius actually may rarely be present in Grover's, but dyskeratosis is not usually a feature of pemphigus or pemphigus group of disorders. There is no subcorneal pustule, and as I said, there are no histiocytes. Okay.